Oh, welcome to Talking About Speedway. Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with you. And Con Migro had quite a good meeting up at Kalgoorlie City Speedway over the weekend.
Good to be with you, Graeme. Yes, a shame I didn't go there because I was hoping I'd come home with a handful of gold, dreaming. But no, it was a fabulous show up there in Kalgoorlie, and we've got a lot to talk about today.
Con, off air we were talking about the commitment some of these teams made to get themselves up to Kalgoorlie. Big transporters use lots of fuel, diesel fuel, so well done to those guys that committed themselves to go up and put a good show on for the Kalgoorlie regional people.
It just shows you how dedicated Speedway people really are. I had a friend of mine last Thursday. He purchased a brand new MAN truck, and he said when he fueled it up, it cost him $3,500. So you work it out. If a guy was driving from Bunbury, say, to Kalgoorlie, you could work the maths out. I would suggest to say that their diesel bill would be fairly large.
Yeah, yes. First time in history that their fuel bills cost them more than their racing fuel and their commitment to race the car on the track.
Correct.
But Con, as I understand, I didn't go either. As I understand, it was a good meeting and the feature went from go to woe. And the feature, of course, won by this man, Kalgoorlie winner, Dayne Kingshott.
Well, he's one of our favourite sons in Western Australia. He's an absolute hero of Bunbury. But, wow, he's a hero of the Motorplex too, because I don't think one fan that goes to the sport wouldn't have to tip their hat, love him or hate him or what. You wouldn't never hate him, but love him or dislike him. He is a fabulous competitor. I don't think we've quite seen a racer like him in West Australia for a long, long time. Probably the last guy that got close to him was Ryan Farrell, who, when he in his heyday, was just about unbeatable at the Motorplex in Bunbury. But what a wonderful driver he really is.
Well, he certainly looks happy there at Kalgoorlie in the picture on the left, and the car superb as always. It's just a credit to the whole Cricky Motorsport team and Matty Cochrane, the crew chief, to present it like that each week, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's amazing that you've mentioned young Matty. He's a carpenter by trade, and his passion was Speedway, and he's had the job. He's only a young man of aspiring as the crew chief for the Bunbury team. And wow, what a performance that car has put on all year. It's been impeccable. And in fact, for the last 3 years, and Dayne Kingshott, well, he can't be beaten really in the Maddington Toyota Series, and we'll be crowning him in a few weeks' time. But he's just been an awesome racer.
Well, talking about Matty Cochrane, there he is, just behind Dayne Kingshott in that snap with a couple of other crew members up at Kalgoorlie. As I say, he's a brilliant guy. And the relationship that Matty and Dayne have got, they were together in their speedcar days, and it's just carried on from there. And, of course, Ryan Cricky has promoted that relationship and friendship and pulled that team together to be what they are today.
Well, Ryan Cricky is a team bonder, and he's done it perfectly well. I know Peter was like that. They have a very successful business in Bunbury, and I know that for the fact that that's the way they want their team to be. I don't think that an international driver would have done any better. This is just my observation and my ideas. I don't think an international driver would have done any better than Dayne. Dayne has just been, as I say, impeccable in the way he's gone about his season.
Well, of course, apart from the feature races he's won and the consistency he's had this year, he also finished second to the American drivers in the High Limit International Series, didn't he? So, I mean, he's a genuine product these days. There's no question about it. And he's won over at Tolmar Speedway on the East Coast, and that's a bit of a rare feat up till now anyhow for West Coasters. But I think with the troop travelling to the likes of Kalgoorlie and Albany and Geraldton and other tracks, Bunbury certainly, that'll set them up in good stead for travelling to East Coast tracks, I think, and rather than just racing at the Motorplex week in, week out.
Yep, I think you're right. And also I watched the Night Thunder replay on Sunday afternoon of the last meeting we had at the Motorplex, and look at the way these guys drive in West Australia. I've been watching a bit of American Speedway. Now I've got a bit of time, the high limit shows in particular, and there's nothing wrong with what they learn to race on at the Motorplex. Just instead looking at that photo, Graeme, of course, Dayne being the winner and Callum second and third, or Kaiden was second or third, whatever it is. But Kaiden looks like the wild man from Borneo there, and I see with his hair like that, a little bit more gold. I wonder if he put some Brill cream on and slick some gold dust in there.
Well, I got a bit of Kalgoorlie dust if it's not gold dust anyhow. But what a trio. These guys are certainly the premier drivers in Western Australia at this time, aren't they?
Yep, and I can say that with Kaiden Manders now with a season under his belt, with the Golding team, I would suggest to say they've had a year to gel together. I think that you'll find 2027-28 might be a pretty special one for them.
Whilst they got first, second and third boards in front of them for their sprint car wins, they're actually standing on the wrong side of Dayne.
That's right.
Second normally goes to normally goes to the right of the winner, but anyhow, it's a great
I couldn't see for looking.
And Callum, he's finished off the season well as well. He's had about 3 or 4 second places in feature races in the last many races.
Well, since he's been with the Diamond Bay team, he's run second in every race with the exception of Kalgoorlie on Saturday night. He leaves soon for America, where he's going to be basing himself out of Pennsylvania. He's going to go into one of the toughest parts of in the world to be racing, and I think that with what he's going there with, his family are going with him, and his dad and the crew chief. So I think they're going to learn a lot. So they should come back for the next season also bigger, better, and stronger.
Now, Con, I'm going to put this up here. Just let me put it across there. This is supplied by Ken Brown, statistician extraordinaire. Most feature races in a season, and if you look at that, 8 for Ryan Farrell way back in 206.07. Jason Kendrick, we remember that fondly, and it just seemed like yesterday, in fact.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Farrell, James McFadden and Dayne Kingshott have all won 6 in a row. And that 6 for Dayne Kingshott doesn't include the Tolmer victory he had this season, but it does include the weekend's Kalgoorlie feature race. But the point that I'm making, and I think the point Ken Brown was trying to make, that should Dayne Kingshott be successful on Saturday night, the 28th of March, for the grand final at the Perth Motorplex, he will then have 7 feature race victories to his name and take an outright second place in most feature race victories in a season.
Yeah, well, I reckon that I have fond memories of Ryan Farrell. He was an awesome competitor. When you look at it, he was racing at Claremont Speedway, and I'd like to see if Ken could give us the record of what he won at Claremont too. But what a fantastic racer he was, and still is for that matter, in his early 50s now. You're dead right. Jason Kendrick, we still remember that only a couple of years ago when he dominated the scene. I can't believe that he's had such a rotten run of luck in recent seasons, but I know they're good enough to bounce back. But Dayne Kingshott is our special driver at the moment, and we're all full of praise of him.
Well, when you look at Dayne this season, 6 there, one in Tolmer in the East Coast, and in fact another race still to go, so we could claim 7 local feature race wins. But it just shows what a good season he's had, and it also, on reflection, it just shows how good a season James McFadden had the year before, considering he didn't race all season. He only came in for the WA State Championship and won that, and then moved on to Boxing Day and the American High Limit Series. So, boy, that was a good season for James McFadden. And until you look at these sort of stats, you don't realise.
No, well, I think he was only ever beaten once, and that was the time that the fantastic Carl Larson lowered his colours, but only just. But you're dead right. And we look back at Ryan Farrell. I mean, Ryan's in his early 50s, but, Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell, just to name a couple of great American drivers, they raced well into their 50s, and they did it well. And Ryan is still extremely fit when you look at him, and he's got a keen eye, and he does drive a pretty mean race car. So I just like him to reconsider his decision, maybe to stay in the 360s and maybe have an all-out tilt next year. And by gee, that adds the cat amongst the pigeons.
And certainly would. And Con, the other thing to me when I look at that slide, let's just put it on again for a final look. Jason Kendrick, 8 feature race wins in a season back in 21-22, and when you see Jason on that store there, you'd have to say he's struggling, because that's how good this guy is. Jason Kendrick's a feature race winner, and love him or hate him, and fans do either, but he's a brilliant driver. I'm not saying out of luck, but out of form somewhere, isn't it? There's something wrong, because he's a bit better than a mid-pack runner at the moment.
Well, I'd like to see him getting the opportunity that Callum Williamson's had just recently. And I'm not suggesting the Diamond Bay team, but another team give him about a month in their car for him to get the idea of winning again. Now, I'm not saying he can't win with his father, but something has definitely gone wrong, and you're dead right. Whether they're not up with the latest technology or not, I don't know, but suffice to say that he's an awesome driver.
Well, Con, having said all of that and having looked at those statistics, we'll go for a quick break and we'll be back right after this with some news on Dayne Kingshott. Don't go away.
At Maddington Toyota, we're all about great deals, value, quality and service. Head to our website for quality new, demo and pre-owned vehicles with videos so you can find your perfect car. We can organise the details by phone and email and deliver the car right to you. Check out the entire Toyota range, plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our real commitment to great service. Maddington Toyota, great deals and great service. Oh, what a feeling.
Saturday night is Speedway Grand Final night. It all comes down to this. The Migro and Graeme Sprintcar Series Grand Final. This is your last chance to catch a huge night of Super Speedway plus monster fireworks, stars in the cars, Kingshott, Williamson, Manders and a cast to the fast. Wheel to wheel, wing to wing, monster fireworks on and off the track. The best of the best battled out for Grand Final glory. Bring your mates, grab your Grand Final tickets, motorprix.com.au.
Welcome back to Talking About Speedway. Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with you. Before the break, Con, we said we'd come back and talk a little bit more about Dayne Kingshott, a special season that he's been having, and one of the things that we need to talk about after the Kalgoorlie round, the Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series. What a great series it is for a start, Con, but Dayne Kingshott leads the way still, and why wouldn't he after a brilliant win? 3,140 points from Callum Williamson, 120 points adrift.
Well, there's nothing in the makeup of Dayne Kingshott that says that you've got to back off a little bit, because on Saturday night I believe that he was on fire. Gavin was up there and he said, "Dad, you should have seen him run. He was just awesome." And that's exactly what the guy is. He gets an opportunity. He drives the back wheels off the car, and he did it very, very well on Saturday night. Callum Williamson was probably a little bit unlucky a couple of times, but look, that's the racing game. He led the race, and then Kaiden took the lead, and so it's they got a good race. As I say, the race went from go to woe, and now here are the points.
Well, just having a look at them again, Con, Dayne Kingshott, Callum Williamson, Kaiden, Manders. They didn't finish in that order in Kalgoorlie. It was Dayne, Kaiden and Callum. But those three drivers, as I say, have been the premium drivers really all season, although Kaiden's having a little purple patch at the present time, but he had a win at the Perth Motorplex last time out, and of course a second place at Kalgoorlie. So he's having a nice little run at the moment. Daniel Harding, of course, he's had an up and down season, and not very far away from Kaiden Manders on that point score. And Jason Kendrick, as I say, struggling a bit by his standards this year on 2.826. But the interesting thing, looking at those points, Con, depending on what happens on Saturday night, the 28th at the Perth Motorplex for the grand final, should Kaiden win that feature race, Callum bomb out, I'm of the opinion that Kaiden will overcome Callum in the point score and finish second to Dayne in the Sprint Car Series.
Of course, and what you're talking about, Daniel Harding, I mean, when you consider what's been going on in his private life with the business, the illness of his daughter, the sickness of his dad, so he's had a lot on his mind this year, and he's done a fabulous job to be there. You know, it's amazing. He's never won the series, and yet if you look at the history of the last 20 years in the sport in West Australia, must be in the top half dozen drivers.
I'd say so. He's very smooth and very capable, and when he's on song, boy, he wins quick times, he wins features and dashes and feature races as well. So a brilliant driver. And I think probably the latter half of the season has been his best half, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's got together pretty well. The team's gelling, and it is a team. It's not just a driver. You've got to have a good team, as you know, Graeme. And that's exactly why the Bunbury team is so good, because they are a team of a driver, but with a pit crew that do the job.
And talking about Bunbury, the Diamond Bay Motorsport team, shows you how good they are, isn't it? They've had several drivers in that car all year. Callum, I think, has been as good or better than most of them, and certainly showing the way, isn't he? But the car is always impeccable and set up well.
Yeah, I'm very pleased for Steve, because we know the effort that he puts into racing, and I believe that he and Callum have gelled together pretty well, because Callum's a pretty easy guy to get on with. You never see him show any tantrums. Well, I've never seen him throw tantrums. He takes it on the chin win, lose or draw. And I think that with Steve, that's been good for Steve. He's got a guy that he can relate to, and that's the end result is that they've been getting good results.
Very good stuff. And it just shows, Con, that this meeting on Saturday night at the Perth Motorplex, the grand final, it's not just another race. There's still plenty on offer, isn't there? And plenty at stake for these leading drivers in particular to see whether they can overcome each other and move up the point score and so on and so on. So it's going to be exciting, and of course, and we'll get to it a bit later in the program, but some good support acts as well on the same night. So
Correct.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, we've been talking about for some time, where has the season gone? Or where has it gone? Here we come into the grand final night, and it's hard to believe because it only seems like yesterday we're kicking off the year and we're saying, wonder how it's going to go this year. Well, we know now.
Now, Con, all year long we've been running the BOYANUP Sprintcar Driver of the Year in conjunction with the Spirit of Speedway, one of the radio stations that we do a program with. And it's been building up. The excitement's been building up, and we can now announce on this show, and there'll be a major press release tomorrow, that, let me just pull that up again, and let me do this, that we can announce the winner of the 2026 BOYANUP Sprintcar Driver of the Year is Dayne Kingshott.
Yep, well, a deserved win. I mean, he's the king of Bunbury. I would be disappointed if he doesn't figure very prominently in their Sportsman of the Year awards down there, including against footballers and horse racing people, because this man is a genuine rock star of Speedway. He's done it very well. It's not an easy sport to win in, we all know, but it's a sport that they, as we say, only the brave.
The remarkable thing about it, Con, is that there's still one meeting to go and he can't be overtaken. This time last week when we did this same show, he could not be overtaken. And if I go back into the point scoring records, I think I'm correct, he couldn't have been overtaken even 3 meetings ago. So that just shows the brilliance of Dayne Kingshott this season. That's why he's leading the Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series. That's why he's won 6 feature races and could be 7 by the end of the season.
Now, Graham, do you want me to give you a gold bar or a gold star for being the fact that you tipped this 3 weeks ago? Oh, my God. But anyway, you deserve the bragging rights because you're right. You called it. I wasn't brave enough to do it at the time, but you did right. This guy has rewarded everyone that supported him right from the get-go.
So there we are. Dayne Kingshott, 2026 Sprint Car Driver of the Year. Dayne Kingshott been brilliant all year, and we thank BOYANUP Sellers in particular for getting this thing underway. We've loved doing it, Con. Sheldon Hart has been the other judge alongside of you and I for this series all year long. He's done a great job. At times it hasn't been easy, as you well know. So how good is it that it's now come to its final conclusion and we've still got 1 week ready to go?
Yes, well, and also when we go down to Bunbury, we're going to do that presentation of that award, and of course we're going to take the Figlamini Award with us, and that's something that that Dayne will get a lot of pleasure out of because he idolised Michael.
Yes.
Michael was an Australian speed car champion and an awesome sprint car driver that went to God far too early in life, such a young man. But yeah, look, we've got some exciting news still over the next couple of weeks to provide for everyone.
So they're the final points. Well, no, they're not the final points, but they're the points right up to date. Dayne Kingshott, 129 points. Callum Williamson, 97. Kaiden Manders, 70. So they're the top 3 runners. They, as I said several times during the course of this program, they are the premium drivers in Western Australia. And for his trouble, Con, let me just bring that one up as well.
Looks good enough to drink.
Dayne Kingshott will win 2 cases of top shelf champagne. I know there'll be top shelf coming from John Keane at BOYANUP Sellers. Boy, gee, they have some beautiful wines and spirits and drinks down there at very, very good prices. So 2 cases of champagne for Dayne. He also is going to win $1,000 cash from Assured Learning Australia and from our good friends at King Chrome, $1,000 worth of tools or product. And as you rightly say, they'll be presented to Dayne at a special function at SEN Radio Studio in Bunbury on about the 13th of April at this stage. So watch out for that one, and we hope to be talking to Dayne at some stage between now and then on talking about Speedway.
Yeah, well, Graham, I did talk to Dayne the other week to give him the heads up a little bit to warn him that if he does win this series, could he make himself available? And he said yes. And I had a little chuckle with him. I said, when you get the Kincrame Award, you're going to chop it into about 15 different places so that you can share a little bit with everyone. And he said, we've got to work that out. So they might have a raffle amongst themselves, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind if he shared it with me. Kincrame products is as good as you get anywhere in the world. So
absolutely.
What a prize that is for him. Con, I just want to move on now, and look, we have had a lot of fun, and it's been totally enjoyable doing the points each week. Been a difficult job, but an enjoyable job, and absolutely delighted that Dayne has won that, as well as looks like winning his third in a row Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series. So well done, Dayne Kingshott.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Now, just moving on to Mora Speedway, the Mark Bloxage Memorial Silver Cup. Craig Burgess won his maiden feature race win up there. Brad Wells, who's been doing well, in no pun intended, in recent times, and Jeff Underdown, former wingless driver, enjoying his LS1 sprint car season. So well done to those guys. I understand it's a bit of a torrid affair for one reason or another, mechanical issues and a few car outages, but only 6 cars competed the course, as I understand, for the feature race. So yes. A little bit unfortunate, but well done to those guys, and particularly Craig Burgess for his maiden feature.
Good on you, Craig, and just a little update on Jeremy Warren, who was involved in a horrific race crash at the last time they raced up there in the LS1 sprint, 360 sprint cars. He has broken his back, as we said, and he's now convalescing at home. But they don't keep you in hospital for long. But he's wired up and geared up. But he said he's slowly but surely getting going. But he's not too sure whether he can go out in big crowds at the moment because of the fact that he doesn't want to get knocked.
Mm. Okay, Con. Let's move on to this one now. An important date in the Speedway calendar. March the 28th, the Perth Motorplex Grand Final. So whatever you do, don't miss this. There's still a lot at stake, and we're really looking forward to it. So, as I say, a very important meeting still to come at the Perth Motorplex.
Yep, it's going to be a ripper show.
And talking about that, here's the support division, speed cars, late models, and Formula 500. It'd be great to see the Formulas back again. And speed cars have been sensational the last week or two, or the last outing or two they've had at the Perth Motorplex, so that'll be a good, and it'll be a final hit out for Formula 500s before their Easter State Championships down at Albany.
Yep, so it's a very good nomination for the final night, so we always strongly urge you to keep on supporting the Motorplex, because if you want to continue to get these fabulous shows that we've been putting all throughout the year, you've got to keep supporting.
And here's the sprint car field. As you can see, Dayne Kingshott, certainly. Callum Williamson, I still can't get used to that, in the number 26 and not the number 3 car. Yep. Craig Bottrell put his hand up again, and all of the stars. James Inglis, he had a good outing last time at the Perth Motorplex. And, of course, AJ Nash recently won a feature, not the last one, but the one before that. So some good heavy hitters in there, including Brodie Kostecki, who's not setting the world on fire, but he's certainly getting his sprint car seat time in, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got ideas. He might become another Kyle Larson. I did say that to him a couple of weeks ago. He said, I wish, Con. But we know how good and versatile Kyle Larson is. It's interesting that Brooke Newson, she went to Kalgoorlie last week, and she did win the Who's Your Tyre Award up there. So good on her, because she had an absolute belt of a crash. And I think they've repaired that car, and the young lady's hauled herself right all the way up to Kalgoorlie to race. So we tip our hat to you.
Now, Con, I want to encourage people to have a crack at this. The Highline Deck Corporate Hospitality Area, it's now also known as the brewing company.
Oh, Wilson
Brewing Company deck, because they sponsor that area. But to get up there, it's a $130 package. It includes everything bar some drinks, but there's a lovely bar up there, and you can buy quality wine, spirits and beers. But the whole exercise to look at the Speedway, and it'll be a great meeting to watch from turn 1 there, where the Highline Deck is, and to have all of that corporate hospitality around you, it's worth every penny of that. And I would encourage people, and you've only got to the 25th to book a seat if there's any left by this stage even. So I would encourage people, if you haven't previously done it, to have a crack at it. It really is that good.
Yeah, and you meet Graeme and Con.
Yeah, yes.
That should be worth the entry form anyway.
Yeah, look, I thoroughly enjoy it. In fact, I can't imagine watching Speedway from anyone else now that we've done it for several seasons up there, thanks to Gavin Migro, and we do our stuff in the media from there, and we say hello to some of the corporate guests that appear up there from time to time, so we certainly enjoy ourselves. But look, seriously, have a crack at it. Highline Deck, corporate hospitality area, $130 package per person, and get in touch with Emma Couch at the Perth Motorplex and see what you can do for yourselves.
Well said, Graeme.
Now, just a quick couple of littlies before we get cracking, Con. The Formula 500 State Championship at Albany Speedway at Will Park, 4th and 5th, the state championship for them down there. So they'll have their final hit up at the Perth Motorplex on the 28th. And then moving on from that, Con, we're going to go to another one just now. And you shouldn't miss either, the Wingless Sprint Australian Championship. You don't want to miss it. 17th, 18th, Friday and Saturday night show. Then they've got one on the 22nd, and then the 24th, 25th will be the state championship. So the Australian Championship first on 17th, 18th, followed by the West Australian Championship 24th, 25th. As I understand so far, there's over 55 nominations. Nominations haven't yet closed, so despite fuel issues and all that, we hope we still get a good car count. And in between there on the Wednesday, Con, is the Des Nash Memorial on the 22nd on the Wednesday evening. So what a great night that will be.
Well, so we've really got to be catering for them. As I said, over 100 cars, and I only hope that the wingless guys make sure that they make their numbers more noticeable so that the fans can have a good chance of identifying themselves with the driver.
Mm. And, of course, don't forget, Wednesday afternoon, 1 o'clock, Sports Radio, 91.3 Sport FM, Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with Let's Talk Speedway. And then on the Friday, 2 o'clock this week around, Spirit of Speedway, SEN Radio, 6:21am, Con Migro and Graeme Sinden bringing that show to you as well. And, Con, one more that we can put up there, watch out for us on Let's Talk Sprint Cars on the big screen, Perth Motorplex, 28th, grand final night, and that show's on prior to racing at about 4:30, I think it is, somewhere, Con, that we record that show, and that just brings you up to date what's going to happen that night and what's been happening during the week.
Well, as is said in the classics, that's your bloomin' lot.
That is your bloomin' lot, Con. Well, thank you for your company again. We hope you enjoyed the show, and congratulations once more to Dayne Kingshott for winning the BOYANUP Seller Sprint Car Driver of the Year for 2026, and to thank those sponsors who've supported that all year long.
Good on you, Graeme.
Thanks for your company. We'll do it all again this time next week. Bye for now.